Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome to the show today. I'm just making sure that you can hear me. You can, of course. My name is Guy, and we are in Mapping It Out, looking at everything that goes into making the battle map editor as amazing as it possibly can be. Now, this week, I want you to say this with me. This week, I want you to say assets. Assets, assets, assets. That is what this month has been about, assets. And wait until you see these assets and everything that you can do with them. I've been looking at them and I have been blown away. There are so many assets that you just have to learn to say the word asset. It's just a thing. Say it. Asset. Asset, 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 asset. Now, as usual, if you have a question, please put the word question in caps in front of your question so that I can see it in the chat. I'm monitoring chat. We are on Twitch exclusively. If you missed this episode, well, you've missed what I'm about to say, which is these all go on to YouTube later on so that you can watch or catch up. If you have to leave the stream early, you can head on over to the YouTube channel in a couple of days and this whole stream will be there. All right, so assets, 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 assets. We love assets, we've got assets, and to talk about the amazing assets, of course, we have our wonderful Till. Till, welcome, welcome, welcome to the show.
Hi. Chet, who else felt now like we are talking about stock market? Because with Guy looking so fancy and shouting asset into the screen.
Buy, 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 sell, sell, sell assets. Yes. Absolutely. Right. So chat should have been able to hear you for that. So chat, just let me know. You could hear Till there. I hope you could. Because yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Till, general overview of DungeonFog, battle map editor. How's it going?
Great. I know for those of you who've been following along for some time, they know that they probably know what we're going to tackle today. But so many bits and pieces have fallen together that it feels like Christmas for me. It's amazing, and I'm not even sure we can tackle all the stuff that is coming to fruition here in today's stream because there's so much that is currently happening that I'm super excited about today. You know me, I have my difficulties in keeping secrets, and finally the team has pulled the lid off and said, okay, you can talk about it now. So yeah, here I am. Let's talk about it.
There we go. Absolutely. And chat is saying, are we a bull or bear in terms of our buying or selling? Are we bullish or bearish?
Well, being closer to Berlin, I would say a bear, right?
There we go. All right, we're bearish apparently, or bear. Or,
what do we have in
and
Vienna?
I'll pretend I don't know what those mean. Right. So, Till, are you prepared to do some bear music?
Rawr.
I'll take that as a yes. And here we go.
Rawr.
Okay, that was less than I thought and more than I expected. We are talking DungeonFog news. Bull is buy, 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 says Lazarus, and bear is sell, sell, sell. Okay, so apparently we're selling stuff and we're selling assets because we.
Well, it feels like what we are handing out today is a lot like sell, sell, sell.
It definitely feels like. It also feels like Oprah. It's like you get an asset, you get an asset, you get an asset. Everybody gets an asset. Okay, so let's go into it. New textures and backgrounds. What?
Yes. So okay, so in last month's Mapping It Out, we were talking about the new asset pack, the fantasy rework. And alongside with the fantasy rework, Tony and I sat down and we've created some indoor textures that work better with the new assets. Because the textures we have been using before, they were stock textures and they're great on its own, but there is a clash in art style. So when we did the outdoor textures, we already realized, like the nature textures that are now part of the nature packs. We realized how much more potential is there if we have the same texture artwork from the props and the textures work in alignment to each other. Which meant that I sat down. Tony created some, let's say, samples or prototypes for me. And then I sat down and used them to create, I think, almost 70 new textures for indoor out of it. And the interesting part is, as always, because in DungeonFog you can recolor things, we've created them in a way that they are easily recolorable. Yeah, greetings from Germany. And you can easily recolor them. So that offers even more variety. Even if you look into the library and you're like, well, they are all the same color. Well, yes, of course they are, because the way that they are designed is to make them as adjustable as possible, giving you the most freedom on actually creating indoor floors. Yeah, I've brought a few samples with me.
Absolutely. Let's have a look at these beautiful assets.
There you go. I think some of them were already featured in last month's stream, but there are even more now added to it. And if you look behind me, wherever my finger points, there you can see the love of detail that's added to each, like for example, the decorated tiles in the upper left corner, they're beautiful. Then you have all those different cracked variations and broken variations of those textures. And when you look to the screen behind Guy, then you can see that they really work nicely when you start combining them to actually break open or create destroyed indoors. And at the bottom, they're also, and that's still work in progress, because with 70 textures being produced, I'm now kind of trying to catch up on my own work. There are also backgrounds there that are kind of preset images that you just drop into a room and then adjust wherever you like it. And it already has a nice feel to it, like those broken wooden floors, the parquet, the broken, or there are different broken stone floors that you can you don't have to draw them with the brushes or the shapes. You just drop the image and use it as a backdrop, as our new background images. And I think it works quite nicely too. But I need to do much more of them. And that's still something that kind of goes along.
Fantastic. That's really exciting.
By the way, I forgot in our pre-briefing, if you would give me a quick screen share, I could actually show how that looks in a real map.
Okay, we'll switch to demo mode. Right. Give me a second here as I figure out where that would be. Okay, stand by. 3, 2, 1, switch.
Okay, here you go. I'm not sure. Is that inverted?
Well, yes, it is. Yes,
it is, right.
But it's inverted from you.
Yes. Yeah.
You're on the right side, but your background is backwards.
Exactly. But now it should be... Wait, that's the wrong one.
And also...
Now, that should be proper, right?
Yep.
Okay, here you go. Okay, so actually here you can see it's called, so if you're looking for it, it's called Backgrounds Indoor. That's where you can find all those new beautiful assets. And when you open that up, you can see the library of all the new assets that are available for that, like the new textures that are available for it. And here, I think in the news item, I posted that map, but here you can actually see how they look in action, because the way that those, let me zoom in a little bit. Flippity flip. Like this is a combination of brushes, and then just floor texture to it. And there you can see how beautiful they work with whatever you want to do here. So if I want to, for example, add some cracks in here, all I need to do is I need to pick, let me just quickly pick that texture, indoor. That's which one? That's this one. Cracked. There you go. And I'll do this. And oh, it's rotated. Why is it rotated? Oh, right, I need to rotate it. That's what I need to do because there you go. And send the carpet a little bit upward. Maybe that brush is like this. That is faster. Range, regular. Well, let's get rid of the carpet for now. And there you go. So it's fairly simple. It looks really great. And you can just very quickly add cracks. And because of the way that the textures work, they actually crack if you combine the right textures. They actually crack exactly where they should be. So you're not mixing up the colored tiles. Which I think is a lot of fun to do. So I've been enjoying this in my map making process quite a lot. And then we have those wooden tiles. We have a lot of dirt and cracked tiles. Here you can also see all the new fantasy assets from Fantasy 2023 that we did. So I'm really proud of this. This is really cool stuff, and I think it improves the image quality of the maps that you create quite a lot.
We may have had an audio technical problem.
Oh no!
Briefly, Till. Folks, did you hear Till during his demonstration, or did you just watch Till quietly talking to himself? I see Matt Ridge is just saying lost audio. The show is still going on. Heard everything. I heard everything, says Lazarus. Okay, fantastic. Good stuff. Right. So they did hear you, Till. So
okay, brilliant. There you go. Well, awesome. Yeah, sorry. So that was a quick excursus in where can you find it and how does it actually look in action, because I very much enjoy those new assets. And the new textures. So it's the fantasy pack. They've been added to the fantasy pack. If you want to use exclusively fantasy assets from the 2023 rework, all you need to do is you need to go to the fantasy pack. They're mixed with the old assets for now, but we will slowly turn them off. But if you just want to use them, just type 2023 and it will filter those specifically.
Fantastic.
There you go. Right.
Lovely.
Okay.
Brilliant. Okay, let's switch back.
Yes, on your mark.
All right, and in 3, 2, where the hell am I going? 3, 2, 1, switch. All right, so much stuff going on. I'm like, okay. All right, an unscheduled demo. Why not? Why not indeed? Okay, so are you planning on reworking all the textures? Outdoor, indoor?
Well, so we've now tackled, I think, I can't really, I mean, that's up to you, community. You might come up with textures that you're missing. But I think outdoor is pretty much covered. I can't really think of much more that we can do for outdoor. And if we come across something specifically for a prop pack, for example, then we say, oh, that would be interesting. We need some more, I don't know, desert textures for outdoor. We will do that. Indoor, yes, there will be more indoor, because right now when you look behind me, it's mostly, it's the typicals. It's wooden floor, and stone tilings. But if you think about it or look into your bathroom, you might find even more tiles, tile designs, tilings that you would like to see. So I already know that Tony and I are working on different temple tiles, because I think from what we have right now, the generic stone tiles are done. I can't really think of more patterns that are so different than the other pattern. But in terms of, again, in terms of specific for elven or dwarven or, I don't know, specific cultural influenced tilings, floor tilings, there is still room for more. So there's definitely going to be more.
Fantastic. Lovely. Okay, well, we're still talking assets, and there's also a new asset pack.
I mean,
and
yes.
It's magic. It's magic. It's absolutely magic, so I say. So, Mage Hunter.
Yes.
Talk to us, Till. What's happening?
Okay, so I know a very creative person who's going to launch a Kickstarter on a new setting. Will you call it setting? Rule set?
Rule set? Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Very soon. And I said, well, we want to help you. We want to do stuff for you. We would like to do as we did for the Bounty Hunter book, or books, I have to say, where we did the Bounty Hunter organic, retro, and modern sci-fi assets. So for Mage Hunter, we definitely want to do another asset pack. And you and I, we know what it's going to be. It's in the works. So I expect that by probably next week, it will already be released. But for those of you who have no idea, Guy, why don't you explain a little bit what this Mage Hunter is all about?
Sure. So thank you, Till, for that. So Mage Hunter is my diceless role-playing game based off of Bounty Hunter, which was released 2 years ago, although it is a heavily updated version of Bounty Hunter, but it is fantasy. And so it features heavily various different species that all wield magic and do epic battles and that sort of thing. The dice's system allows the players to choose when they should succeed or not, which causes all kinds of tension. You have no idea. The Kickstarter does launch on the 2nd of October, on Monday, so that should be quite exciting. And yes, the asset pack that has been planned, I have to say, it's a great addition because although it is for Mage Hunter, it definitely is a perfect addition, I would say, and will round out and flesh out a lot of, how could we put it, maybe more deserty or perhaps more exotic locations where you might find a palm tree or two. Anyway, the asset pack is going to be absolutely stunning, and I can't wait for it to drop next week, just to allow you to make more beautiful maps in DungeonFog. And if you pick up a copy of Mage Hunter, well, then you can certainly make some of the locations that will be featuring within the setting of Mage Hunter.
Yes.
So very exciting stuff.
I agree. It is, and it is also something that we haven't done yet in the huge variety of assets that we've already produced. That one is actually something that we haven't done before. So I can't wait to share it with you. Keep an eye out. There will be news announcement next week, definitely, once the Kickstarter is live. And of course, once our asset pack goes live too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're not done with assets. If you thought we were done with assets, you're very wrong. Very, 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 very wrong. So until something new this way comes, and it is a new artist who is joining your League of Artists at DungeonFog.
Exactly.
Who is it, and what can we expect from them?
So, you and I were both at UK Games Expo this year, and I met an amazing young artist who is called Tom Cartos, which is quite an amazing name for a cartographer. And Tom and I have been chatting over the summer, and we've been prepping stuff. So Tom is currently filling up his first packs, getting ready to release them. And I expect, I don't have a timeline. That's actually up to the artist to say, okay, I'm done, I'm ready, push release button. But it is being finished up. So I expect in the next couple of days, weeks, I don't know, but very soon, that there will be a bunch of new assets. And I must say, it's unfortunately here you can't really see it. I should have made a bigger screenshot. But the art style from Tom's Cartos is really interesting because it's a combination of 3D rendered assets that are then hand painted with details, which is a very, I would say, it has a very good perspective and dimensionality to it. And I can't wait to see what asset packs are going to hit the marketplace first. They're also, I already know that they are also available through our Patreon integration, which means that if you are supporting Tom through his Patreon, the packs that he uploads to our marketplace are automatically included in your DungeonFog subscription. So you don't have to purchase new assets. You just have to join his Patreon account and support him as an artist, which will then automatically bring those assets into the battlemap editor.
Fantastic. Fantastic. And that answers my questions of how do we get the asset pack? Well, join his Patreon or wait for it to become available on the marketplace. So we have been hearing this whole time that we are getting new assets, more assets, and more assets, and more assets, and then some extra assets, and then some bonus assets, and then, you know, just some more assets. We've also been hearing quite a lot for the last few months about a certain something, the asset manager.
Yes.
And Till, what have we, or what can we hear about the Asset Manager 2.0 tonight?
Well, I have brought the first demo for it because it is in the final sprint. And it is being finished, and I very much hope that at least once we celebrate our anniversary, it will be already released, or it is close to be released, because right now we're basically just polishing stuff and finding things that might be need some fixing, need some UI improvements, need some fine-tuning. But Andy has been working for the past, well, I would say almost the past year. So since I think he started in March, and has been. It hasn't been. He hasn't solely been working on it because there's battlemap stuff and other stuff that he also has to do. But this has been like his big thing for the year, where he's been pushing into it. And I think, well, you're going to tell me soon, Chet, but I think it was absolutely worth it. Before we take a look at it, for those of you who have no idea what I'm actually talking about, some of you might because you're following along all our mapping it out. But for those of you who are hearing it for the first time, or you feel like, maybe I could use some refreshing, we already have an asset manager, but it is terrible. This asset, well, there's no way to make that thing. I can't sell it. Sorry. It was when we did it. There were a few cool concepts back then. It was one of the first things that we did for our launch back in 2018, to do an asset manager. And we had this idea of the two windows, where on the one side you have the available assets, and on the other side you have your own collections, and you can drag them over to build your own collections and then customize assets there. However, with, I don't know, 7,500 assets from DungeonFog, and over probably 60,000 assets from the marketplace, this is not manageable at all anymore. And also, it is ugly. So we said, okay, with all the things that we know that are happening, and I'm so super excited about this because it is kind of a bridge between so many things that now slowly fall in place from all the different angles. The asset manager is not only something that will allow you to organize, structure, and search assets in a much more state-of-the-art way. It is for us also a prototyping and experimenting of the version 6 framework that we want to use. So here you can see where the asset manager is going to be. So this is the menu item. And this is an interesting part because before the new asset manager, you actually had to open the editor, switch the tab into the asset manager, and then start organizing your assets. This is going to change now, and this is going to change in several ways. So first of all, when you go to the website and you log in, you'll get direct access to the asset manager, and you don't have to have a map open to organize your assets. You just go there, and you'll get an overview about everything that's available to you, and of course, manage all the stuff that you bring along yourself. But that's not the only way to access the asset manager, because I think on the next screen, we can see that there are also the regular approaches to it, which is there's still going to be the asset manager in the top menu bar. And there's also going to be this new extension window button in the prop tool or texture tool that kind of extends it to a second screen, where you can still access your assets and the asset manager. But most importantly, it is also something, I hope there is another screen, I think so. Yes. It is also as a PWA solution, so a progressive web app. It is already something that you can install and you can run directly from your desktop. So it is, and this is interesting because this is where it bridges to Deios eventually, where you can access the asset manager directly through Deios. And the cool thing is the way that we build it is that it can always communicate with its sibling. So it can, the asset manager as an application can communicate with Deios as an application, or can communicate with the battlemap editor as a web application. So whatever you do will reflect back onto the editor, the drawing tool that you currently have open. So you basically have it will also run on your smartphone, which means that if you're in the train and you want to organize your assets because you're terribly bored and YouTube is down, then you can sit down and organize your assets on the smartphone or tablet as well. But most importantly, it is the place where you can structure, organize, and work with your assets. And then the editors are basically just receiving and saying, okay, you want that asset? Well, let's put it here, let's put it there. So that's the general concept of it, right? And I think we should now look into it and see it in action, because I'm super excited about it.
Not yet. We've got questions. We have questions. So firstly, from Coppershield, the question is, so the asset manager could be some kind of hub between Deios and the battlemap editor?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Good.
It's going to be the one place where you organize all your assets, whether it's world map assets, city map assets, or battle map assets. It is there. And there are goals for it to extend and build upon that, which means that eventually, which is not going to be release day one, but the goal is to make it the place where you organize all your stuff. So you can upload your PDFs there if you need PDFs to run games. Maps will be available in there eventually, which you can then group and sort and organize into stuff. And hopefully it will then also integrate into third-party applications like VTTs, where you can then kind of directly access maps, PDFs, or tokens, assets, or whatsoever, and put them directly in the VTT if you need a wall that collapses. Yeah, so that's the idea. So it is kind of a bridge between all the applications that are currently being developed.
More questions. Damien the DM asks, does that mean we are getting desktop and mobile apps for the asset manager specifically?
So the desktop app is something that I'm going to show today. But again, it's not like the cool thing about progressive web applications is that they can run as a desktop application per se. And that's why we decided to use the combination of Rust and Flutter and all the other libraries or solutions that are available. But you're going to see that I'm going to launch the application from the desktop, and you can run it from there. Whether or not this is going to be a separate application from Deios and they just communicate, or it will be launched inside Deios, is something that we haven't decided yet. This is actually something that we need to test and understand how it works best for us. And it also works as a mobile application. However, I actually wanted to show it today, but it hasn't been optimized. So the mobile views are not optimized yet, which meant that I was stuck at login because I couldn't find the login fields.
Oh dear. Another question. Does this mean we could get current Deios assets in the battlemap editor, perhaps sooner rather than later?
I'm not going to say anything about that because I don't want to steal the thunder from the anniversary.
All right. And if you're wondering what the hell the anniversary is, that's the 5th of November. DungeonFog turns... How old exactly? Exactly. DungeonFog turns 5 on the 5th of November. There will be a special live stream. So watch social media for that because you're going to get some answers to some of your questions. All right. Now, let's do the demo.
All right. Let's do the demo.
Let's do the demo. You ready to swap over?
I am. Yes.
3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, how boring. Nothing to see. Well, okay. So here we have Project Deios, of course, and this is the desktop app icon. And when I click it, it actually launches the the asset manager. Now, bear with me. This is the data that is reading is currently from the test service, which has two implications. A, some things are wonky, like, for example, the test item marketplace with comments. And the test server needs some time to boot up. So performance is not as sharp as it is then on the live service, because in live service we have two redundancies and the live service is permanently running. So if I'm going to have a laggy search right now, it's mainly because our test server is kind of warming up. Okay, so let me walk you through the interface that you're seeing. So when you go in there, by the way, I need to make this a bit smaller so you can see all the fancy stuff. There you go. And let's move it over a little bit here. Okay, so first of all, this is your dashboard. This is where you enter the asset manager, where you have what we call a discover section that shows you the available assets that are available to you. That can be because you have uploaded them, you have a content subscription, you have purchased stuff in the marketplace, or you are a Patreon supporter to one of the artists and get those assets through the Patreon integration. The number here is, again, a test server number, so there are a lot less assets on the test server than they are on the live service. Those are the custom packs that I have created myself. We can see that I have for now only 2 custom packs here. And then we have the uploads. So I have 402 out of 50,000 assets that I could have uploaded. I have uploaded 402 to the test server.
Slacker.
Yeah. Then we have the marketplace, which also I think is quite cool. It reads the numbers. So there are currently 47,608, sorry, assets in 122 packs in our marketplace, which is amazing. Like, our marketplace has been launched, what was it, last year? No, 2 years ago. And it has already grown so much. It's amazing. Okay. Whenever someone, your Patreon supporter or through the content subscription of DungeonFog, whenever a new pack gets available to you, it will show up in the latest packs, which means that as a hub, I think this is pretty cool, because whenever you go there, you see what has been added latest. And you can then browse and explore those things, which we are going to do in a minute. And to break it down even more, you get the latest additions to your library on an asset basis, where you can see this was the latest pack, and those are assets in there. And the reason why we're showing them to you is because you can then do stuff with it, which we're going to see in a minute. The available packs is then a list of all the packs from all the various artists that are currently available to you. And which I think is pretty cool. We switched to a tiles view where we show the pack thumbnails to each pack, which also meant that I had to create pack thumbnails for all the DungeonFog packs, which I had to do anyways because I'm in the process of restructuring all those assets into better packs for you. And you can just get a first impression. And if you're like, well, that's too small. Of course, you can zoom in and have a better view at those things, which also means that, which I think is pretty cool, you have now those navigation options here where you can do a lot of stuff with it. We're going to see it in a minute. All right. Just quickly, content subscription is just the assets or the asset packs that are available through the DungeonFog content subscription, and marketplace is all the stuff that's available through the DungeonFog marketplace. And then you're in your own section, which is where you create your own packs, because that's, I think, where the big benefit lies. If you want to pick from all the various packs to create your own pack, to make it easier accessible for you, or the way that you structure things works different than we structure things. All of that is fine because everyone thinks differently. So this is where you create your own packs, and then you collect from all the sources and put your stuff together, and we're going to do that now. So let me, first of all, let me assume that. Let's stick like that. I think that's fine. Okay, so here's a search bar, of course, where you can search the whole shebang. And if I want to, what could I? Let's say it's not coming, but I'm saying it's coming. Winter is coming. So if I search for winter, I get some recommendations here. Like, do you want to have all winter assets, or do you want to have winter packs? Or do you want to have winter from a specific artist? Or do you want to have winter assets in specific packs? And all of those filters will apply. Not all of them are working right now. So what I do is right now I'm searching for all the assets that are winter based. And here we can see that the test server is slowly booting up. And there you go. Now you have a ton of assets available here, and that might not be the easiest way to organize it for you. So the first thing you can do, of course, is again, you can change the zoom level and say, okay, give it at 180%. Now he redraws that and gives you all the winter. Everything that is either winter in the name, tagged as winter, which means that you can give your own tags as well. So you can tag stuff for yourself, or an artist has tagged it with winter. All of that shows up here. But to make it even easier, to see, I can also say group the assets by asset type. And now I'm getting all the paths that are winter tagged, all the props. So we have 24 paths that are tagged as winter. And as we can see, most of them or all of them are actually currently marketplace assets. Then we have 233 props that are tagged as winter. And then we have 28 textures that are tagged as winter, which I think makes it super easy to browse, explore, and collect stuff. So what I want to do is I want to create a new pack, and that's called, well, I already have created it. It's called Frozen Waste. So let's say I want to have this. I like this texture. I like this texture. So I can shift select a bunch of textures. You should, I'm not sure if the stream can see it, but they're highlighted. And I can, of course, with Control add some more to it. So those textures I like, which means that I am now dragging them over to Frozen Waste and done. And if we go there, we will see that those textures have been added here. Okay, fairly simple. It's just drag and drop. Of course, there will be options like cut, copy, paste, copy just color properties, copy light properties, and create packs from the selected assets. If you're in that kind of process at the moment, you're like, oh, I like that one, I want to create a pack of it. I think we've covered quite a lot. I'm super happy to hear feedback from the community once it has been released to see what else you would like to have in there. And now the question is, what can I do with such a thing? And when I double click on it, I'll get a bunch of options, which are like I can see the name, I can see who was the artist who released it, I can see the regular dimension, the type of it, and then I can create variants of it where I can color them and create a copy color variant of that prop. So instead of placing chairs that are sometimes lighter and sometimes darker, and you have to manually adjust them, you can do all of that in the old asset manager. I'm not selling you new stuff here. I'm just selling you pretty stuff here because the way that it looks is much more inviting. And here you can see all the texts that are already associated with it. And eventually it's not being activated yet, but you can then add your own tags, which we will then use to populate them. If a tag is being used quite often from different people, we can use it to tag the original asset as well, which means that we as a community, and I include us into that process and you, we are going to slowly rebuild and rework the way that those actors, that all those assets are structured and organized, which I find quite cool. So now I have to get rid of myself for a second, because let's put me here, because then there's even more stuff. Like you can see this asset is included in this pack, and if I would have it, I think it's not working yet, but if I have it in one of my packs, in a different pack, I can see that there too. And once the connection, the bridge is built, once I select that asset, the battlemap editor would have that already loaded up as a texture for the brush tool, for example, if the brush tool is currently open. So there's a communication bridge that says, oh, you want to work with that? Well, you have the battlemap editor open, so here you go. That's your texture now. And that is, I think, the concept. Did I forget something? I most definitely forgot something. But I'm pretty sure there are questions.
Certainly looking super cool. Yes, someone has pointed out that my light that changes color turns me slightly transparent and reveals my true inner self as being a vampire. You're right. You've seen through my ruse. Curse this moving light. Actually, I just forgot to set it unstable, and so, yes, my bad. Secondly, when it's mobile optimized, says Damien the DM. I see myself using so much random downtime just retagging and rearranging assets. I couldn't agree more. I echo that sentiment absolutely. To be able to literally go in and say, right, this, and this is what I need. Fantastic. And to create these groupings. Now, I'm assuming that these groupings, Till, if we open them up, so you've created this Frozen Wonderland, Frozen Winter pack. If I open up props, it's only going to show me the props from the Frozen Winter pack. And if I open up textures, it will show me the Frozen Winter pack as a texture option as well. Is that correct?
Sorry, no. What? Come again?
So your Frozen asset pack that you've created now, you've got some props and you've got some textures. So if I go into DungeonFog and I open up props, I will see the Frozen assets as a pack. I'll see that pack.
Yes, I can see my own. I can see my own packs available, and I can send, like, if I am in the props tool, for example, if the props tool would be open, and I select this, we can pass. Hey, the user has selected a waterfall, and he's in the props tool in the battlemap editor, so he most likely wants to have it as an active prop to the stage.
Lovely. Fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah.
This is brilliant.
It's also like upload is already working. Add assets is a different approach that's still being coded at the moment, where you can, while you're in the Frozen Waste and you're like, I don't want to go through all that stuff all the time to drag it in there. I could still go to add assets and it will bring up a quick search of all the available assets, and you just type there and drag it out and say, okay, this one, I want this one, I want this one, I want this one. So yes, we're trying to cover as many kind of user experience roads to it, to actually use it. But as you can see, there isn't much of a gap or of a jump to do to actually have maps as a category here, where you can see I have some frozen maps that are using those assets, and then upload the PDF of the latest Mage Hunter game to have it available while you run your games. So I think there is a big potential in there to actually have a nice organizational hub for working with those things.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. Well, those are the questions that chat had. I think everyone is just quietly waiting for, when is this going to come out?
So ideally in the coming month. But as always, you never know for sure when it comes to programming, because something might be still, some monsters might be lurking somewhere, and we realize that something's terribly broken and we have to spend more time fixing it. Generally speaking, our goal would be that by the end of October, we actually had some QA testing on it, and are ready to release it as a beta version to you, and then fix it up and make it pretty by the end of the year. But if things are going south and we have to delay that release, then it might be November. But as you can see, it is fairly close to being finished, but it is not fully tested yet. So that's the big scary part, is whenever the testers go on to it and they say, this is not working, this is not working, this is broken, this is broken. And then you have to fix a lot of stuff. So that's the one thing that can delay it mainly.
Fantastic. All right. Well, from the asset manager, we go to our regular. So let's switch back.
Yes, sir.
And stand by for me. And in 3, 2, 1, switch.
There you go.
Okay. And that was the demo. I was super impressed. I can't wait for this thing to get live. And so we're going into, well, we need some music, Till.
Yes.
You ready for it?
I'm ready for it.
Here we go.
Community map highlights.
I love those. I love that. I think I love them too much, actually. All right. So, Community Hub, celebrating folks who have just released amazing maps out into the DungeonFog community. We've got some really cool maps tonight, and we actually have one artist featuring twice. That's how popular their maps were. So, shall we just jump straight into it, Till?
Yes, let's go. Let's have a look at those amazing maps.
All right, so this is from Bree8170, and it's called T2K City Center. Look at that.
Look at that. I think this is a brilliant map. It is the way that the lighting, the shadows, all those details work are really cool, and it's a perfect, I think. Well, there's nothing I can criticize about. It's just a brilliant modern map.
So we've got the creator in chat by the looks of it. Iron Hammer says, "Yay, that's mine." I would have
nice job.
I would have a question. Is this actually based off of an intersection that you as the creator are familiar with? Because I look at that and I go, that's absolutely well thought out. You can see the way the hedgerows have been planted, the bus stop openings, the little indents into the pavement, the trash can, the benches. It's the attention to detail to make it as practical and as lived in as possible is just, I just thought it was really cool. It's a mix of ones I've seen. Okay, great. That's really cool. Really cool.
It was absolutely, like, again, as always, we go through the hottest maps in the hottest map section where we see what has been posted latest, what people upload, and there was no discussion. We all saw it and we were like, yep, we'll take that one. That's a brilliant map. So congratulations. Nice job.
Lovely. Okay. And so the next one is from Mokatam, and it's called Stony Field. Stony
Field. The screen grab cannot catch the love of detail and the weirdness of that map that transpires when you open it. Mokatam has, for people who do not know the artist, has been featured in some of our community spotlights in the past, because Mokatam has also quite a keen eye for color and atmosphere. So we liked it, and we saw it again being popular in the hottest map section. So we brought it in here because, again, this giant hand in this stone field, and then you can see with I think you can see a ballista somewhere here in the map. So this is a weird map, and I love it because when I look at it, I feel like, that's actually something that inspires me to think about ways to use that. Might it be on a different plane, or might it be in a dream, or might it be wherever it is? But it's so strange, and I very much enjoyed looking at this map. So Stonefield by Mokatam is also one of our community spotlights this month.
There you go. Another one is from Ava, which is Pirate Cave.
Yeah.
Pirate Cave.
From weird, nightmarish stone fields to something more peaceful. I think the way that especially the water is done is really amazing.
You can almost get the sense of it being glassy, see-through. It's just beautiful.
So I think the full title to it is Entrance to a Pirate Cave by Ava. And for everyone who runs island-based or coast-based games where you need something like that, I think the devious thing about this map is you can use this as a setup for having really terrible things inside the cave. But the way how peaceful and tranquil this looks is going to catch your players on the wrong foot. It's a bit like a vacation photo, I think. I love the map.
Next, then, well, someone who you're going to learn their name very quickly is Jerbear with Snowy Mountain Pass.
Using our our snow asset packs, and I think some of the I'm not sure if there are some of the new nature textures are in there, but still it is a very nicely and I think aesthetically pleasingly done snowy mountain pass map. It's also, again, the screenshot did not feature the length of it, so it's a bit longer than we can see right here on the screen, which makes it interesting for ambush scenarios or chases.
Depth that's created with the different tree sizes
and the shadows.
That have been added
yeah,
in.
that
Very
was
nice.
really good trick with the shadows. So a nice outdoor map, and then
suddenly we go to the crypt. This is also from Gerber, the underground crypt.
Yeah.
Super scary.
I'm not sure if Gerber is part of the community for longer and is now popping up in the community section, but it is. Those maps are currently pretty hot in my stream. So in my feed of maps, I can see a lot of Gerber maps, and they are all amazing. So the indoor crypt is beautiful, and the way that it's again decorated and using the lighting, I think, is pretty nice. But I would highly recommend to check out even more maps by Gerber, because there are a lot of cool maps that are currently being published. So Gerber, welcome to the community. I hope, I don't know how long you've been here, but now you're in my awareness, and I say welcome, and thanks for those beautiful maps.
There you go. There you go. Stunning, stunning maps. Folks, this brings us to the end of tonight's mapping it out for the battle map editor. But stay with us. We've got behind the scenes of Deios and another demo for you. Just a reminder that, in case you missed it, there is no show at the end of October because of the very, very special 5th anniversary 5th of November special, which Till will be running on this channel. And you can find more information out on their Discord server as well as on all of their social media. There's going to be some cool announcements and things happening there. I wish I could be part of it, but sadly I will be away running some games in some old buildings somewhere. Anyway, so just if you leave us now, remember, no stream in October, but there is a big one in November and an exciting one happening later in the month of November. I can't wait for it. It will be glorious. Anyway, we'll be back straight after this. Stay with us. I can't find it. Where's it gone? It's moved. Why did they... Okay, we'll be back straight after this.
Me too.
What's got you down, Ogre?
It's my dungeon, Gobbler.
What's wrong with it?
It could be so much more, you know? With more stuff.
It can't be that bad. Let me have a look. No, you've got a nice swamp full of snakes and spicks. Ah, snakes and spikes. Very nice.
But, I mean, that's it. How am I supposed to attract adventurers with that?
2 words. DungeonFog.
Dungeon what?
DungeonFog.
For over 3 years, we have put all our love and determination into making DungeonFog the best battle map-making tool out there. Thanks to you, our amazing community, Game Masters can pick from over 10,000 community-created and shared maps, and can turn them into their own epic dungeons to use and share. None of this would have been possible without you. Thank you. And may our tools always help you to create maps your players will never want to leave unexplored.
So, what do you think, Gobbler?
Well, it certainly is different.
Hello, everybody, and we are back. I don't know why I was waiting for that opening slide to do some more. I think I was actually waiting for Till's music, but I forgot to cue him, so that's why there's no music. Till, you've also shrunk.
I'm sorry. I'm back up. It's late here. I'm slowly decomposing.
No, not with what's coming up. Not with what is coming up. We are talking about the new patch. We're talking about new assets. Assets. I told you the show was about assets. And we're also doing another demo of City Map Maker. I mean, what's not to like? And Damien the DM, yeah, I think you know what you're talking about there in chat. And a good evening to Still Psycho. Hopefully a good evening to you. Thank you for joining us on the stream. Okay, we are talking about Project Deios. Now, just a reminder, if you're just joining us, the show is available to you to catch up on YouTube. If you head on over to the DungeonFog YouTube channel, you will find tonight's show uploaded there in a couple of days, and then you can catch up on anything that you may have missed if you have only just joined us. And another thing, if you have a question, please write the word question in caps in front of your question so that I can see it, and then I will try and get it answered for you during the show. Right, so we are talking about the new patch 0.5.14. What's all about this new patch, Till?
Yes. Okay. So, it is quite the habit already. Every month, or almost every month, we hand out a new patch to the world map editor, addressing and slowly cleaning up things that are being reported to us. The patch 0.5.14 will include, of course, a new asset pack and some hot fixes or bug fixes that we ran into. This is mainly about world map editor. I think, I'm not 100% certain. I forgot to confirm with the dev team, but I think there's also going to be the new export mode. That is so. The cool thing about Deios development is that we're in chat with the community all the time on Discord, and people have been suggesting some ideas on what could be done to make exporting maps a bit more convenient. Ilya took that advice and said, okay, I think that's easy, manageable, let's do this. So I have it on my test build already, and I think it would be ready to be included in the patch. But I would not dare to confirm that right now without having spoken to Ilya once about it. But I think chances are good that in patch 5.14 or 5.15, there will be the new export mode in there. And then, generally speaking, because we are full-time working on the City Map Maker, there's a lot of new stuff for the City Map Maker that is being developed and we're going to look at. Just quickly, the new asset pack that will be included is pretty.
It is pretty. Yes, it is pretty. It is pretty. It is pretty.
As always when it comes to Chaora assets.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And here it is.
Yes.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! It's the Orcs pack. And again, we have already deployed and released all the major settings. So we're now with the mini settings. And last month we did dwarves. And this month we're doing elves. And this is another very nice... Did I say elves?
You mean orcs.
Right? I mean orcs. I'm not sure why I said elves.
I was about to say, well, those elves are
very angry. Those are angry elves.
elves?
No, I'm sorry. I meant elves. Orcs.
Orcs.
Oh. I might have a stroke. Sorry. Do you smell bananas?
It's actually almonds, but sure. I mean, you know, pick a something.
Well, in Austria, we smell bananas.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay. So orcs.
Right.
Yes.
Orcs it is.
And there's a lot of stuff that you can use to create orc camps, orc ambush sites. And generally speaking, orcish stuff on your world maps that are being released with the new asset pack and the new patch 5.14 coming soon.
Lovely, 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 lovely. Just stunning as always. All right, let's talk about City Map Maker.
Yes, I can't wait to talk about it. It's so much fun because
it is, absolutely.
So many cool things.
So let's have a look. Where are we? What's happening on, and what can we expect?
Yes, so this is the roadmap. The roadmap is being updated regularly. Every month we look at what we have achieved in our roadmap and where do we need to adjust our timeline. As I have said last month already, the road props, so the methodology where we place props alongside the road while you build a road. This is an endless task, which isn't bad. It's just something that we need to improve as we go along. And there are months like September where we have more time to dive into it, and months like August where we have more time to dive into it, months like September where it is something of a side note happening whenever we have time. But September we have spent to actually finish 2 other very important tools, which are the walls, or like the city wall tools, which actually is much more than that, and the brush tool, which isn't fully finished. There's still some stuff that we need to do. We're going to see it today, but the basics are there, and now we can build upon it and polish it. And while I'm in the way of my own screen, which means that there is basically the whole, the whole alpha release cleanup phase that is still waiting for us to be done. Now, the optimist in me would say this is what we are doing in October, which means that by the end of October, we could actually hand out the release. But we already, the alpha release. But we had by the end of August or early September, we've handed out our roads build to Discord testers, people who want to test it. And if you're interested, you can still find it in our need help section where we need your help. You can find there the call for testing for our roads tool. And of course, there have been reports coming in. Thankfully, some very nice feedback, but also, of course, some crash reports. And although it is, at least where we are right now, I feel like it is quite stable. We're still eventually sometimes running into weird cases where the application crashes down, which makes it not stable enough to be actually released already. And with those things, it's always hard to estimate how quickly can you find the source of the problem and how quickly can you fix it. So I would say if everything goes all right, we are handing it out to the public for testing by the end of October. And if things are still a bit wonky and need to be fixed, it might be delayed a little bit. But as we might see today, I think it is already in quite a good shape.
Right. So the slide says demo.
Demo!
We gotta do demo. Okay.
Yes.
Are you ready to swap over?
Probably.
Probably.
Wait, let me see if I have set it up already. Yes, I am ready. And you give me the countdown.
3, 2, 1, switch.
There you go. And you might need to fix your...
I have to turn off the...
Ta-da! Green screen is gone. And I have to actually move myself a little bit over here. Okie doke. So, here we are seeing quite a few new things. For those of you who've been following along the mapping it out streams or even have been playing around with the testing build on Discord, you might instantly notice that the style, the road style, has drastically improved. Like when you look at how the roads are drawn now, I think they are amazing, especially when you compare them to the way that like the Keora style of how those kind of grassy paths are created. Here we can see a grassy path that kind of shrinks down, becomes the passage into the marketplace. Then here you can see the way that this little dirt road traces along, and the way that this kind of combines and mixes up, I think is pretty neat. So I'm super happy with it. And it kind of, now that we're working with it for some time, as someone who's interested in the aesthetics, I can say that things have clicked now when we say, okay, now I understand how we need to do this or that to actually make it look pretty. And this is a lot of my time at the moment is actually reviewing those things and improving them aesthetically based on the kind of style guides that we got from Keora. And so I'm super happy with the roads, and I'm interested in the feedback from the community to actually hear what they think about it and what they would like to have changed. But generally speaking, I'm quite fond of it. The next thing that you might notice is we have city walls. And I'm not just going to zoom in and zoom out and show those. We're going to build that map, rebuild that map in a minute, but I'm just going to explain what are you seeing here? What has changed? What is different to before? So we now have those city walls, which I think they already work great. And as you might notice here, we also have those grass seams or edges. I need to zoom in a little bit more so you can get a better look at them. And the reason why all those things worked in an instant were because we were kind of adapting the paths tool from the battlemap editor. Because if you remember back in, I think, March or April, we were talking about the experimentations we did with like unidirectional textures. Where we said, maybe we can use roads in a way, the same way that we use paths. And we realized that this isn't working because the crossroads then don't work. But we saved the code because we knew that eventually for the walls, we might need them back. And we said, okay, wait, we can do this even for a full paths tool in there. And so we have now finished the paths tool, which allows you to draw city walls and to draw those thingies. And now it's our job is now to create more of those paths that fit nicely into city maps. And of course, as always, once we're done with the city map alpha, we'll port all those things into world maps so that those tools are kind of globally available to all the editors and not just this one. But right now we're using this as a development platform, and then we can port things across. By the way, if you're confused by the way that my toolbar looks, this is a development toolbar. We have all the different tools that might be necessary for testing in there. So the way that we're currently doing, it's not finished, but the way that we're currently doing water bodies is actually kind of a variant of the landmass tool, and is by no means finished, but is something that where we currently are experimenting with to see what's the best way to design the UI for it. Right, what else can I show you? Well, of course, let's look closer at those sandy beaches and the transition to grass and the a little dirty areas inside the town, and then of course the darker areas inside the forest, and you might already guess what is also implemented by now. And those are the texture brushes, which is also amazing because if you have been following our development streams, you know how bland our maps have been looking just because the textures have been missing. And they are implemented now, and you can see how much difference that makes.
Absolutely. So, it's stunning. Absolutely stunning. We've got a question as well, by the way, whilst we're talking about it.
Yeah, well, I'll answer the question while I'm going to set up a new map, and we're going to see how this is live demo.
Okay. The question was, are the fields brushes or assets?
Currently, they are assets because that's how I got them from Kiora, but they are going to be probably brushes, but more likely a bit of both brushes, props, and paths, because there are different things where the field might work better as a path. That's something that I'm experimenting with at the moment to see how can I turn those things into different objects for you that makes working with them much more easy. Okay, so in the current build, I actually have to manually create a landmass, which is stupid and is not going to be part of the live build, but that's how development works. Cutting corners wherever we can. And now if I want to create a water body, I can actually subtract from that landmass and I get a water body. And again, this is not how it's going to work in the end. This is how it is for me to test and give feedback to the developers, and we will then modulate that into a proper tool once we're happy with the results. So let's do some natural coastline here and some natural coastline here. And let's remove that a little bit. And as you can see, when I zoom in, the lighting effect is much too bright at the moment. But generally speaking, it looks quite nice to have this kind of glow in combination with the waves. So I think once we're done with the aesthetics, this is going to be quite nice looking.
And controllable as well, so we have dirty brown rivers and
exactly.
Okay.
So the next thing is this is brushes, and I can add. Let's do this bigger. Let's do 200. I can quickly add a brush to it. There you go. Am I happy with the texture scaling? Probably not. Let's make this 200. And I can. Yep, I think that's good. Let's see what happens if I do 300. It's getting smaller for some reason. It's the opposite of what it should do. That's fine. So let's leave it like that. And let's do some decoration grass, which, by the way, is going to change fairly soon. I've been using assets for that. 60 softness that I think I want to change. Opacity, texture scale, all is set. So the question is, where is my, there it is. And there it's gone again. Yeah, it's again, this is testing build. So I have this one. Let's add a darker forest area. Let's make that bigger. Let's add a darker forest area here. It seems to plop in and plop out eventually. Okay. And now let's go to roads. And there is the new village road type where I want to place props. I want to bind them. I should probably start with a smaller road width. And I want to randomize the road size, which means that it becomes more natural. So when I now start to draw a road starting from here, you can see, probably you can see that it gets thicker and thinner because of the randomization. And I can do my road until here, and then it automatically gets the nice style applied. And here you can see it kind of, it becomes more natural as it alternates in its width. And let's reduce it even to 5 to make a thinner one. And now I can create a road that goes here and connects back to here. And there you go. And that's basically what I have been doing so far to create the map that we have beforehand. Again, the settings to adjust the size, the width, the distance from the buildings, that is something that we need to implement. But the foundations are there, so it's mainly UI question and less a functionality question. Let's do the dirt road. You've seen that in my previous map, so I can do a little dirt road connection here. It is going to delete some buildings, but that's fine. Because it's going to replace. Oh shit! Sorry, my bad. Shouldn't curse on stream. I actually wanted to make this a 2-pixel road because that looks much better. There you go. And then we have those nice. This icon is a placeholder internally. We haven't assigned icons yet. For the city wall, which I'm going to make as a point and click mode, where I say, okay, city mode is going to start here, go here. Oh, that's not connected. Well, we're going to fix that later. Here. Let's do something like this. And there we have the city wall. The towers are not appearing at the moment. This is something that we want to do. But I can, of course, pick a tower. Make it bigger. And place it wherever I like. So I can then put towers on my walls. There you go. And the same goes for the grass border that has been implemented now. Let's make that a little bit bigger so we can see it. So if I go here and there I have different, yeah, I'm going to show in a minute. I have different tips.
Straight lines selected, by the way, for
yes,
path.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes, I actually want to do this. So now I'm switching from a straight end cap to a pointy end cap, which we're going to see right here is what is happening. It is going to thin it out at the ends. So I can create those grass borders and I can draw them wherever I like. And if I feel like they're looking in the opposite direction, I can simply mirror them and they are looking in the right direction. And there you go. I think that's...
There was a quick question in chat.
Yeah.
Can we draw straight roads that have
Of course. If you want to have a straight road, so this is the curvature straight, you can choose between freehand, which would let's go back to the village road at, let's do it again at 8. Freehand means that it is trying to do wherever you go in a certain possible angle, it is trying to do a straight road. If you're not happy with that, you can go to the point snap, which means that if you want to create a straight road, like let's turn off the scaling as well, which is then just straight, 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 and let's insert there a point so we can have straight here. And there you go. So you have straight or curved roads, depending on whatever you need. And of course, there are going to be different road types and road aesthetics for whatever you need, like cobblestone, stony streets, dirt streets, sandy streets, all those things. This is something that I'm currently working on. Right.
Right. Yeah. This is amazing. I think it's chalk and cheese from what we saw last time. It's just fantastic, the development surge, and what a difference those brushes make too.
Exactly. The brushes are a big difference. I think they are the biggest difference in terms of aesthetics. But also, there is there is a certain amount of clutter that makes those maps look lively. And this is something that is still on our to-do list for the roads, is not just populate the roads with buildings, but also populate them with clutter. Which reminds me, we also have updated the library with a ton, I think 41 new color style buildings, because again, the colorization options is something that we just simply need to code. And right now we're kind of ticking off so many boxes that I said, okay. Instead of piling another task on the developers, I'll create pre-colored assets for now, and the colorization will then make those pre-colored assets obsolete eventually. But for now, you have a ton more assets in there that you can use to actually populate your city with more variety. Right.
Stunning. Absolutely stunning.
The other thing I very much enjoy is, let's do that quickly, is I can load up all of those trees. We all know that already from the world map editor. And if I do a scatter of, let's say, 12, I don't know, and 200, so I probably need to scatter that by 50. There you go. Now I have a bunch of trees that I can place down,
And
which is very
Mirkwood.
Yeah, suddenly I have a wood. But which I like is that once I start drawing a road, it actually kind of caves its way into the wood. So you could potentially load up a map with a lot of trees, and then populate that with roads, and it's cutting through them, which I think is quite nice. And if I have the bind props active and I move them, it kind of still collects all those trees together. But I think there's a lot of cool stuff that you can do with it once we kind of cut out the edges. And I'm quite happy with the progress. So I think we're really close to it. I'm super excited about it.
So the one question that I have saved, not ghosted, that I have saved is from Copper Shield, and it says, will we get our hands on this build as well?
Yes.
Very friendly look in the eye. Yes.
There is definitely going to so currently there is some stuff that just needs fixing. And although the stability is quite good, this is one of the streams where I actually don't think I can break it. We might spend some time actually on trying to break it. I haven't crashed it for
maybe we should just cherish the fact that it can't be broken.
Yeah, but it's tradition, isn't it? Okay.
Could it be tradition that we just don't have broken demos? I mean,
no. Where's the
head.
fun in that? Where's the fun in seeing Till suffer? But there's still things that need to be fixed. Like working with brushes is currently a bit of a luck game, whether or not you select the right brush and you adjust it. So there is definitely some work that needs to be done. But I did like the way that our Discord release worked, and the feedback we got from you. So I think there's a good chance that before we put this into an official release to the auto updater, that we are running another internal test with people who want to test and give feedback. Because Copper Shield, I think I remember you did some testing for us and did some feedbacking to us, was very helpful. So thank you.
Lovely. Well, Till, what a fantastic demo. What a wonderful advancement, I think, over what we saw last month. I can't wait to see what comes up next. Sadly, there's not anything else that's going to come up next on tonight's show because we're at the end of it. We're at the end of it. I kind of don't know what I would leave this map. It looks so pretty. So pretty.
It's it's so much fun to see how actually how little details and aesthetics fall together to actually make something more lively, more interesting. And again, it's I haven't even mentioned that there are now shadows, although this is a very rudimentary shadow system that we have at the moment. But shadows is also something, light and shadows is also something that we ideally want to tackle in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, it's I think tonight's stream is a good example of how things fall together and suddenly make a major evolvement in software, because with the brushes and the paths finally being put together, we've made, I think, a major jump in aesthetics. And I'm happy with it. Thank you for staying with me so long.
There you go. Folks, thank you for staying with us throughout this entire stream. I hope I have answered all of the questions that have been put to Till this evening. And of course, if you have only just joined us, you can, of course, catch the stream in its entirety on YouTube in a couple of days once it has been uploaded there. So you can see all of the cool and shiny stuff. Watch the Discord for communications, as well as all of the other social media to come. And a reminder, once again, no October show, because there is the big celebration of the 5th anniversary of the Battlemap editor on the 5th of November. Couldn't get an easier date to remember if you tried. And it would be lovely to see you all there. A lot of cool announcements are going to be happening during that very special stream. And I suppose all that remains for us to say is thank you for watching and
happy map making.
Happy map making.